खुशनुदी इमाम ज़माना बावाज़े बुलंद सलावत
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.
رحم الله من قرأ الفاتحة.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم.
لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم. أعوذ بالله السميع العليم من الشيطان اللعين الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين بارئ الخلائق أجمعين باعث السفراء الأكرمين والصلاة والسلام والتحية والإكرام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين حبيب إله العالمين سيدنا ومولانا أبي القاسم محمد.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد
وعلى أهل بيته الأطيبين الأنجبين ولعنة الله على أعدائهم أجمعين. أما بعد فقد قال الله الحكيم في الذكر الكريم. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. الذين ينفقون في السراء والضراء والكاظمين الغيظ والعافين عن الناس والله يحب المحسنين.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.
السلام عليكم ورحمة الله.
وعليكم السلام ورحمة الله وبركاته.
One of the biggest issues, or I can say the biggest issue during the time of Imam Hussein alayhi salatu wassalam was the representation of Islam. Islam at that time was represented by Yazid, a caliph who was extremely corrupt, a ruler who was extremely selfish, drunkard, always engrossed in illegal and unlawful entertainments, playing chess, playing with monkeys and dogs, butchering people, suppressing people. These were the characteristics of Yazid. These characteristics, even though all of them are horrible, but the worst part was not these characteristics. The worst part was that Yazid, with all these horrible characteristics, was representing Islam. That was the worst case of the scenario. And that's why Imam Hussein alayhi salatu wasalam did not tolerate Yazid. If you say Imam Hussein alayhi salam did not tolerate Yazid because he was drunkard, because he was a merrymaking person, because he was a murderer. Was only Yazid of these characteristics at that time? Not of course. There were thousands of people who were drinking and doing all the horrible things Yazid were doing. So Imam Hussain والسلام, did not stand against Yazid only because of these characteristics. But Imam Hussain والسلام, stood against Yazid and created Karbala because with all these characteristics Yazid was representing Islam. And the message was going totally in distorted way. If you read the history, you will be able to understand very easily that at that time Islam was rapidly growing. People from different countries, different cultures, they were curious about Islam, and they were coming from here and there to learn about Islam, to see the true image of Islam, to make their decision about embracing Islam. And when they were coming to research about Islam, naturally, where they went? They went to Damascus, the palace of Yazid, because Yazid was the caliph of the Muslim world. And when they went there, they saw a totally distorted image of Islam, which put them far away from Islam. This was the crime of Yazid. This was the situation which was really bothering Imam Hussain, which Imam Hussain was extremely concerned about. Islam's message was being distorted, and Yazid was representing Islam because Yazid was doing all these crimes in the name of Islam. I'm the caliph, I have the right to change the religion. Whatever I'm doing, that is Islam. Therefore, everybody is allowed to follow me if they wish. Yazid was not, in fact, stopping people from prayers or from observing fastings or all the rituals of Islam. So Imam Hussain والسلام, when he saw this grave situation, and Imam Hussain realized that if this situation continues, then there will be no name left for Islam. After a while, Islam will be totally corrupted, corroborated with the lustful ambitions, behaviors, and attitudes of Yazid. So Imam Hussain والسلام, stood against Yazid. And the greatest achievement that Imam Hussain والسلام, made out of his uprising. If you say Imam Hussain is trying to eliminate all the evil, so evils are everywhere, even after 1400 years. So Imam Hussain والسلام, did not get, na'udhu billah, what he was looking for. Imam Hussain والسلام, did not stand to eliminate all the evil. Imam Hussain والسلام, out of his uprising, out of his Karbala, wanted to draw a very clear line between haq and batil, between right and wrong, between true and false.
So,
And Imam Hussain والسلام, got successful to the highest level that you can imagine. We have all those evils, all those crimes here and there that Yazid was committing. But none of the rulers of the Muslim world, they are committing all those crimes in the name of Islam. And even though if they are committing all those crimes in whatsoever name, but no one is following them, no one is taking the message of Islam in wrong way. Rulers' actions are separate from the original and pure teachings of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد اجل فرجه.
And that was Imam Hussain alayhi salatu wasalam aimed at achieving. After Yazid, we have several caliphs. In fact, before Yazid, all the deviations among Muslim Ummah that you see in terms of the practices of Islam, such as Salatul Taraweeh, not saying Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim when they recite Surah Al-Hamd, or doing Salah in this way or in that way, breaking the fast a few minutes before, or whatsoever changes that you see in the original version of Islam within Muslim Ummah, they go back to the pre-Karbala timing. After Karbala, no changes are made in Islam. Why? Because before Karbala, whatever rulers did, that was considered a part of Islam. But after Karbala, Imam Hussain alayhi salatu wasalam changed the whole scenario. After Karbala, rulers' actions were rulers' actions. They didn't have the authority, they didn't have the power to represent Islam. And that's what Imam Hussain alayhi salatu wasalam wanted.
MashaAllah.
So I mentioned all these to in fact pass to you a very powerful message, very important and crucial message. Brothers and sisters, the same situation or similar situation is faced by us in our contemporary world. Nothing is being changed from Quran, nothing is being introduced in religion, but worldwide. Now for the goodness of media, Islam's message has reached every coon and corner of this world. And all the people from all the cultures and countries, they are curious about Islam. But what's happening when they want to learn about Islam? The first impression that they get about Islam, that is through media. And media projects Taliban, ISIS, all these terrorist groups, and they zoom on their evil activities. So, like Imam Hussain alayhi salatu wasalam's time, in our time as well, Islam is being represented by wrong people. And can you imagine if someone focuses on Taliban, Daesh, Al-Qaeda, and they want to learn Islam through them, will any sane person embrace Islam or have any positive attitude about Islam? Of course not. And this is what's happening in our contemporary world. Islam is being misrepresented. I go to churches, synagogues, and other places of worship, and when I talk about Islam, the generosity Islam offers, the broadness, the openness, Their eyebrows are raised. Their mouths are open. It's first time we are hearing that Islam has such beautiful teachings, and Islam has this much broadness about Jesus Christ. So Islam is being misrepresented. This is one of the greatest challenges of our time. And our brothers and sisters, especially youth, our young brothers, our young sisters, who are brought up, raised in Canada, educated in Canada, it is in fact your responsibility. Not only responsibility, this is your privilege to change the status quo. Islam is being represented by wrong people, like Islam was being represented by wrong people during the time of Imam Hussain alayhi salatu wasalam, seeking inspiration from Imam Hussain alayhi salam, getting inspiration from Imam Hussain alayhi salatu wasalam. You can change the status quo. How Imam Hussain alayhi salatu wasalam managed to change? Imam Hussain did something extremely marvelous, exceptional. In Karbala, Imam Hussain alayhi salam, the level of sacrifice, the level of virtues, the highest level of qualities that Imam Hussain presented in Karbala, they were so exceptional that the cameras of the world, which were focused on the palace of Yazid before Karbala, they turned their lenses toward Karbala after the Shahadat of Imam Hussain. And by making that great sacrifice in Karbala, Imam Hussain told the whole world, if you want to learn about Islam, if you want to see what Islam is, if you want to understand what Islam stands for, don't look at the palace of Yazid. Look at Hussein's Karbala.
MashaAllah.
There you will see the true face of Islam. So brothers and sisters, it doesn't matter. We are in minority or in majority. Was Yazid in majority or Imam Hussain? Yazid was in vast majority. Imam Hussain alayhi salatu wasalam, along with his 72 companions, you can say, with a handful of people, changed the whole scenario. So if we are true Hussaini, if you are true Hussaini, if our sisters are true Hussaini, alhamdulillah, we all are. We all love Imam Hussain alayhi salam. We commemorate for Imam Hussain. So seek the inspiration for Imam Hussain and make this your intent. Don't just mourn for Imam Hussain alayhi salam. There are many people who are mourning for Imam Hussain. All the jinns are mourning for Imam Hussain. Every part and parcel of this world is mourning for Imam Hussain. All the animals are mourning for Imam Hussain. All the angels are mourning for Imam Hussain. Every part and parcel of this world is mourning for Imam Hussain. Your responsibility is not just to mourn for Imam Hussain alayhi salam, mourn for Imam Hussain, seek inspiration from Imam Hussain, and deliver the message of Imam Hussain to the masses. Change the status quo. Change the representation of Islam. And you have the capacity. You have the potentials to do so. Avoid sinful life. Spend your time wisely. Whatever we do, before doing anything, ask yourself whether that is meaningful or not. Whether this is beneficial for me for this world or for the Akhirat or not. Learn about Islam truly, sincerely. Educate yourselves properly. And then inshallah, you will be able to change the status quo. Like Imam Hussain alayhi salatu wasalam changed the representation of Islam, you can change the representation of Islam in this day and age. Let's recite aloud salawat.
Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Ajal faraj.
और मैं एक बात और आपकी खिदमत में अर्ज करना चाहूँगा, एक प्रैक्टिकल टिप जो मैं हर रोज आप हज़रात को देता हूँ। वो आज जो मैंने चूज किया है वो है never ever use abusive language. Always mind your language. This is one of the challenges that we are facing in Western world. Wherever you are facing this challenge, especially in Western world. In schools, all your friends, they use F words. In colleges, in universities, whatever drama, whatever show, whatever sitcom you watch, everywhere there are abusive languages. You are surrounded by abusive languages. Don't use that. It's extremely horrible. It prevents your progress. It stops you from getting closer to Almighty Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It blocks away the kindness and supports and blessings for Imam Hussain and Ahlul Bayt alayhi salatu wasalam reaching to you. Let me give you one single example. It is not only for youth, it is for all. Even elderly people. Never ever use abusive language. You think that by using abusive language you are projecting yourself and people will look at you as a brave person. No. When you are using abusive language, at the same time you are lowering yourselves in the eyes of people. If not in the eyes of people, in the eyes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We all can survive without people's support, but none of us can survive the anger of Almighty Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Imam Ja'far Sadiq alayhi salatu wasalam.
Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
He had a long living companion. The companion, he lived years with Imam Ja'far Sadiq alayhi salam. He used to come and on and off with Imam Ja'far Sadiq alayhi salam and sit and converse and learn. One time Imam Ja'far Sadiq alayhi salam was going somewhere and this fellow of Imam Ja'far Sadiq alayhi salam was also going with him. And he was accompanied by his servant. On their way, this fellow of Imam Ja'far Sadiq alayhi salam looked back and he didn't see his servant. So it happened one time, second time, third time, he spotted his servant and he used abusive language. Only one word. Foul language about his mother. Once he used that language, Imam Ja'far Sadiq alayhi salatu wasalam was shocked. And Imam looked at that individual. You, my companion, living with me, sitting with me, conversing with me, learning from me for so many years, you use that word. He said, Ya Rasulullah, this individual is a non-Muslim. So if I've used foul language about his mother, I've done nothing wrong. Subhanallah. Imam says, Subhanallah. How dare can you develop such evil mentality? How dare you allow yourself to abuse someone's mother? Use foul language. Underleveling people as non-Muslim. Then Imam alayhi salatu wasalam turned to that person, and whatever Imam did, Imam alayhi salatu wasalam wanted to teach us a practical lesson forever. Imam said, go away and never come back to me. Go away and never come back to me. And history says, after that, that individual was never ever seen with Imam Ja'far Sadiq alayhi salatu wasalam. So let me mention just a single point. Just Think of yourself. When someone, by using one single word about a non-Muslim, disqualifies himself from the companionship of Imam Ja'far Sadiq والسلام, in this world, then how me and you, how we as the lovers of Ahlul Bayt والسلام, as the believers of Islam, how we can expect that after using all the foul words, after using all the abusive words, after using all the galis about our fellow brothers and sisters, about our relatives, we'll be able to join the company of Imam Hussein والسلام, in paradise. Do you think will it be possible? Of course not. So never ever use foul language. Avoid that entirely. Let's recite a louder salawat.
Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad.
कुछ बातें की दरख्वास्त है प्लीज मौलाना की मौजूदगी की मजलिस से पहले माजरत